Hello everyone, Daryl the Northern Vinyl Guy back at you with another video here on my channel. And for today we are going to be, there was a cool concept that I had seen. I was introduced to Anthony at Gambler 812, and one of the first videos of his that I watched was this video of, genres of music that you, or artists that you have in your collection that people might not realize that you have. The fact of the matter is that, every one of us in the VC, we have our own, genres that we really focus on, whether it's prog rock or soft rock or heavy metal or whatever it might be. But we don't really focus on others. And in particular, like if you've been, focused on my channel for the last 3 or 4 months, you'll know that I'm into a lot of Canadian music, Canadian rock music. I like 70s and 80s music, especially soft rock. I did a little bit of a video that has some yacht rock in it and things like that. So there are certain genres of music that by all means I don't really listen to all that often. However, I do have some artists in my collection that fall under specific categories, and so I thought that I would share this, some music that might be surprising that I have in my collection. So I'd like to get started. Before I do though, I would just once again like to encourage you, if you are not familiar with Anthony at Gambler 812, I will leave a link down below and you can check out his content there. And I will also leave the information for the 3 bands that, or the musicians that I have in my collection in the description, and you can check them out. So first and foremost, in a previous video I had mentioned that one of the first CDs that I ever purchased on my own was Ace of Base and The Sign back in the early 90s. It's kind of weird that I would have purchased that because I am not into things like ABBA. I'm not really into dance music or disco, any of those kinds of those musicians. However, I do have a couple of albums. I'm just going to show one by ABBA in my collection. Now I do like Frida from ABBA as a solo artist. But I wasn't really into this whole disco scene. And in fact, when the that movie Mamma Mia came out, when was that? About 10 or 15 years ago, I'd like to think. You had to have dragged me off the couch to watch that Mamma Mia. But I think that when it comes to ABBA, I mean, I could take them or leave them. But this was an album that I had found, I believe it was at a thrift shop. I figured, you know what, for $1, getting their greatest hits. I mean, there are some good tracks on here. I mean, Dancing Queen, I don't mind. Take a Chance on Me is good. Waterloo is good. But I'm not a fan of things like Knowing Me, Knowing You, or SOS. I don't know what it is. The Money, Money, Money. Not really into those songs, or I do. I think I'm kind of more into the fast-paced disco that they have, although The Winner Takes It All is a pretty good song. Does Your Mother Know? I don't know. There's something weird about that song. I remember hearing it when I was a kid. I don't know, I just couldn't get into ABBA. I've taken a bigger appreciation for this group as I get older, but yeah, I mean, ABBA Greatest Hits, I think it is the best of, on Polytel, and here's the label. But yeah, just not super into disco, although I do have quite a bit of disco in my collection, just discount stuff. Alright, secondly, one genre of music that I'm not too into, and I definitely know that growing up, this wasn't something that was actually really listened to in my household. My dad wasn't really into too much country. I mean, if my dad was listening to country, it was things like Alabama, more 80s and 90s country, but that 50s and 60s style was not in the wheelhouse. I know that my mom really doesn't like this type of music. She's not into it. Growing up, her household was listening to things like the Carter family and the Carters, that really twangy country music. So it just wasn't in my household growing up as a kid. But one that I don't mind is Johnny Cash. I am okay with Johnny Cash. This is the Ring of Fire greatest hits here. Best of. And this is on the red Columbia label. Right there. But some of the songs that are on here, Ring of Fire, that's just a classic. Were You There? It's kind of more of a Christian thing, but The Rebel's good. Battle of Alamo. I don't mind There'll Be Peace in the Valley. A lot of, this is kind of, I guess, some of his more, there's some religious music on here, but what I would really like to get a hold of is Folsom Prison. I should look for it and see when I'm on vacation or something if I can find it. I don't mind his Folsom Prison blues. But we got a little bit of Johnny Cash. I'm not too much into country music, though. I am starting to get into a little bit of the more modern country music. Rascal Flatts and Florida Georgia Line. I don't mind those bands. So I can handle country, but it's not really in my wheelhouse of things that are in my collection. So yeah, Johnny Cash, my second genre or type of musician that people would probably be surprised that I have. And then last but not least, for as much as this musician has done, he's pretty much the godfather of it all, the king of rock and roll. I know lots of people in the VC, they do like Elvis Presley. I am one of those that I can handle Elvis Presley, but at the same time, depending on the vinyl or the album that we're listening to, I could take it or leave it. However, this album right here, Elvis, a Canadian tribute, is a record that I remember my dad having distinctly when I was a kid. And the one thing that I always thought was super cool about this particular album, and this is on RCA, is that, it is a gold album, a tribute to his golden hits. And in fact, if we're going to get into the semantics of it all, some people would argue that there are two locations that Elvis played outside of the United States. He never really toured at all. Now, some people would say that one of his earlier tours to Hawaii in, I think it was 1953 or 1954, Hawaii was not yet a state. Could be classified into this. However, he did a few more tours in Hawaii once they did become a state in 1959. So I am excluding that. So what that means is that Elvis Presley's tribute to Canada, Canada is the only other country that Presley toured in, and there are some live songs in here. There's some intro stuff. Jailhouse Rock, Let Me Be Your Teddy Bear, Loving You. There's actually some stuff like a Vancouver press conference when he was playing in Vancouver. So the historical dates, according to this, were April 2nd, 1957, he played in Toronto. April 3rd, 1957, he played in Ottawa. And then April 31st of 1957, he played in Vancouver. Now, according to this, there were rumors that he was going to tour again in 1975, but as we all know, he passed away a few years later, and that just never came to be. So, yeah, this is a really cool album. He even did a Anne Murray, I think, cover on here of Snowbird, which is pretty cool. Little Darlin' by the Diamonds. So he did some Canadian covers. Put Your Hand in the Hand, which is an Ocean song. Really cool stuff. Elvis Presley. I do have another Elvis record that I was given as a Secret Santa a few years ago by a colleague of mine. So, yeah, other than that, those are my three: ABBA, Johnny Cash, Elvis Presley. Check out Gambler, 812 Anthony. We'll leave the link below. But until next time, take care, everyone. Have a good one.